Hello, and welcome to When Life Happens with Neloise Denise. And I am super excited to have my amazing guest, Mr. Patrick Shedd. But before we jump and delve into today's topic, I'd like to welcome you on this Saturday morning. So I hope you feel welcome. So the purpose of When Life Happens is to inspire hope, to encourage, and to motivate you to move. MOVE, make overwhelming obstacles victorious experiences. And how do you do that? By sharing what you've gone through, um, and let people know how God brought you through that situation. I always say our testimony could be the very key which helps unlock someone else's prison, right? So, and it could also, in terms of moving, it could be you moving from a negative mindset to a positive mindset. It could be you moving in faith. It could be you physically moving, which is what we're going to talk about today. So when life happens, God gives me different topics coming from the word life. So today we are on the E, and it's exercise. It's not that dreaded word. Some people don't even like to hear about exercise. Exercise for what? But we're going to get into the benefits of exercise and why it's important and things of that nature. So without further ado, I welcome you, Mr. Patrick Shedd. How are you today?
Hello, good morning. I'm doing well. I'm doing well.
Good. So before we jump in, I know in my write-up saying meet my guest, I said, I kind of told people a little bit about you. You come from humble beginnings. You have a love of sports, particularly or specifically basketball and football. But just tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity to be on When Life Happens. So again, my name is Patrick Shedd. I'm the younger brother of Neloise Denise.
Not
Uh,
any younger, but go ahead.
as I'm 34, I was born and raised in small town Starkville, Mississippi. Went to Starkville High School. There, I was very fortunate to gain a JUCO scholarship. I did 2 years at East Mississippi Community College, and then I was tremendously blessed to earn a 2-year scholarship for the University of Alabama at Birmingham, where I successfully completed and graduated from UAB. A lot has happened. Like you said, when life happens, uh, I don't know where to start, but I'll just point out a few key things. I had a very successful career in football, and then I got hurt my senior year, and then that's when life really kicks in. So I really had to learn new skills, new methods, learn new knowledge. And then I went back home after graduating, and I stayed home for probably a year. And then in 2013, I moved to the state of Oregon, where I reside now currently. And I've been here 10 years. So what I do now, I work for the state of Oregon, working with vulnerable families, helping them find resources to find stability within their home. And then I also coach at a few middle schools. Then I coached at a couple high schools. And what I do now is I train young athletes to help develop their skill, enhance their knowledge, to give them an opportunity to pursue whatever dreams and aspiration that they may have. So that's just a little bit about me, where I'm at currently. So go ahead.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I like how you pointed out, Patrick, when life happened, your senior year, you got injured, right? So that's kind of the segue into our topic for today. Our topic today is about exercise because we're on the letter E, right? And the topic that we have is exercise. And we're going to highlight some of those things that you just said as it relates to how to incorporate exercise after injury. We're going to get to all of those different aspects. But first, let me go ahead. And I'm sure all of us know what exercise is, but I like to give the definitions. So, exercise is the activity requiring physical effort carried out to sustain or improve health and fitness. It is a subset of physical activity that is planned, structured, and repetitive. it has a final intermediate objective, right? So you're not just out here willy-nilly doing stuff, right? I'm not gonna go to the gym and just do a couple things like arm lifts and then think I've done some great, done a great workout. Do like 5 arm lifts or whatever, and then leave. That's not a good planned routine, right? So, Patrick, let's kind of start out with identifying the types of exercises, because you highlighted, obviously you're an athlete, right? You've been an athlete, you're now a coach, you mentor young athletes and things like that. So let's highlight some exercises. Tell me about the different types of exercises. We'll start there.
Okay. To just bring out a few that I think is very important. What I really like about your message and just going to the gym and just doing things, I think people need to be more intentional
Yes.
with their workouts. What
Yes.
you're wanting to gain, what muscle group you're wanting to focus on, and also what's the whole objective of the physical aspect that you want to get from working out. So I like to say mental exercise. I think the world don't focus on what mental exercising is. And when you think about mental, it's really having the courage, the motivation, the inspiration to get up and do it on the days your body and your mind is telling you no.
Oh, wait. Go ahead and talk about that, because, honey, it be plenty of days. My mind and my body is like, girl, this bed comfortable. It's raining outside. I'm sorry. I just had to jump in. Go ahead, though. Your mind and your body. Go ahead.
No, and I have to tell myself that, I'm not as consistent as I was when I had to do it. And what I mean by I had to do it, being on a scholarship, there's certain requirements that are non-negotiable. So you have to show up, every single day. But then when you're not held to that standard or have those expectations, mental muscle kicks in. So that's very important. Get up and do it. Any movement is better than no movement. So I would say mental exercising is very good. And then also I would say cardio. You and I spoke a little bit about this a few days ago on how important is cardio. For me, I use basketball as my form of cardio. And I know a lot of people use treadmill. A lot of people like to use bikes. A lot of people like to walk and things of that nature, which is, I will always say, is be creative. However, be more intentional with your cardio, knowing how your body development respond when you are doing cardio. My body respond well with high intense cardio for a short period of time, not a long period of time. Okay. But the whole point is to be intentional when it comes to exercising. So I would say the mental, the cardio, and then the physical exercise, I would say is very important also. It's set those goals of what you're wanting your physical body development to look like. Okay. And also how your body respond with the type of workout you're doing. If you want to grow muscle mass, then focus more on slow, steady with a great amount of weight. If you want to focus on staying toned, then be more medium with your weight and more intense.
Okay.
And then you also have, if you just, you want to just grow your muscle mass. And a lot of people do like powerlifting, where it's like really heavy weight, lower weights. Heavy is lower weights and lower reps. So that's really slow focus on your muscle. So I would say those are the 3 most important things for us exercises that I would say that are very important when it comes to setting goals, expectations, setting the standard.
I love that you highlighted we have to be intentional. Not only must we be mentally ready to go and exercise, but we also have to be intentional when we get there. And I just kind of highlighted earlier how I can go in and do like 3 lifts and be like, hey, I'm done, I'm out. It's a wrap. But I hadn't really, maybe I was intentional on those 3 reps, but okay, I'm not achieving anything. And like, what do we want our bodies to look like? Absolutely. And so that's what we have to highlight, the importance of working out. You know what I'm saying? It is to sustain or improve health, and we hear this all the time. Our health is our wealth, right? because we want to do whatever we want to do to this body and expect great health in return when we're not doing anything to maintain or to improve. Really, really good. I like that. So let's highlight exercise after injury. Because you highlighted that you were injured in your senior year and you just recently had an injury with a knee injury. So let's talk about what exercise looks like after injury.
Okay. Oh man, it's like first it was my left knee in college, the MCL, and then probably about 3 years ago, I broke my right ankle.
Oh.
I know, right? And then recently in May of this year, I tore my patella. So I had a traumatic knee surgery.
Mm-hmm.
So my exercise were different. I was, again, basketball was my cardio.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would do high intense weight to stay toned. And then now by my knee, after I had knee surgery, I had to reconstructure my exercise. So
Mm-hmm.
I had to be creative with my cardio. So right now I go on walks. I just started going on a treadmill. I can't fully run at the moment. So
Mm-hmm.
right now it's just more of slow exercises. I also do Pilates to work on my core strengthening.
Mm-hmm.
I incorporate doing weights. It's more like 25 pounds, but it's more like slow and steady because I want to
Mm-hmm.
grow my muscle back and I want to grow my strength back. So I can't do much intensity because I don't want to re-injure myself. So cardio has changed a lot, but Pilates have helped me out a whole lot for as like strengthening, core strengthening, and also
Mm-hmm.
flexibility. So it's a
Mm-hmm.
different form of cardio, but it also means exercising those muscles that I would not have ever exercised due to
Mm-hmm.
the injury that I just had.
Oh, wow. I like that you highlighted that even though after injury, you have to look at your routine differently and you have to incorporate different exercises to still achieve the same goal, right? Because I know a lot of times for me, I have been so fixated on, walking, walking. And my husband always tell me, he was like, if you shape like a pear and you just doing the same thing, you're just going to be a smaller pear at the end of the day. And I was like, what? But because he was talking about the importance of toning and strengthening and all that kind of stuff. Because I was like, well, I love to walk, and I've
Mhm.
incorporated jogging and then weights and everything. Because I have a weighted vest, I have all these different dumbbells and just various types of weights that I carry when I'm walking. And so my husband, like, he just said you'll be smaller, but have you really achieved your goal? So at any rate, I love that you highlighted that. So we have to open our minds to the variety of exercises, right? And what they entail. And we can do a
Mhm.
little research to kind of highlight what's going to be beneficial for now. Now, I know you spoke as to after your injury, but you have a background, you know what I'm saying, of working out, physical activity. What about that person who's been injured and has not, didn't have that, right? That whole background of, what would you say to that person?
You know, I I've been training a lot of athletes, and there's athletes that have different physical capacity, mental capacity, body development, knowledge of the game. So it's always been creative. I think it's more like an assessment of
Mm-hmm.
where people are at,
Mm-hmm.
and I work with many athletes who, lack fundamentals or something like that. I say fundamentals because fundamentals are very important because it prevent a lot of injuries. Uh,
Right.
so I was truly blessed to have the capacity to be able to be such aware of where an athlete needs to focus and need to work on. So it's all about building those trustworthy relationships, but also doing your own research as a coach, mentor, trainer to
Mm-hmm.
really say, okay, I see because of this specific body development, we need to focus more on here. Because the goal is to really bring awareness, but also provide skills and knowledge to the person that you're working with on this works better for you. Although you look right over there and you're working out with your teammate, 5 days a week, different types of workout is for different types of people. So I like to bring awareness of helping someone truly understand um, their body development and what they need to do so they can reach their full potential versus comparing other workouts with other teammates, colleagues, peers, when you've given so much effort, time, and energy to working out, but it's like you're not obtaining what you're wanting to obtain due to lack of awareness of creating a workout that really works for your body development.
Right. And I love that you said that. Because like I said, my husband said you're just gonna be a smaller pet if you're not focusing on everything. And so but at any rate, like I love how you said we have to be work number one, identify our target areas. And now you just can't go to the gym and say, I'm just gonna work abs and work nothing else, right? We have to look at an overall routine that's going to be beneficial for us, right? Specifically.
Yes.
So I love that you highlighted that. So let's just say I have a membership, I go to the gym and I go in and I'm saying, well, I want to work on abs, or I just want to tone my legs. What would you suggest? You know what I'm saying? Like if I go into a gym and I do that, but I tell them I don't like this, I don't like that, I don't like burpees, I don't like crunches, I don't like squats, I don't like, you know what I'm saying? So I'm really not gonna have a beneficial workout, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's not gonna work for me. Um, but on a serious note, let's talk about for beginners, right? Because you mainly deal with athletes, you mainly highlight the way that you train them. What about someone who's been sedentary for a long time and now they have to take an active look at their physical health? Like, what would you say to encourage them to get moving?
Mm. It goes back to some movement is better than no movement at the beginner stages.
Right.
And then as you be consistent, that's when you really have to create a routine and you have to be intentional about what you're doing. So anyone who's struggling to get started, get started. Something is better than nothing. Even if it's just for 5 minutes, I'm gonna just walk in place, because the goal is to really get out of your comfort zone. But when you're starting out and you haven't done it for so long, is to retrain the brain that you're fully capable of being that person you once were, or being that person you want to become. So I would just say, just get up, get started, do something with the intentional and the focus to be, I want to make progress as I continue to be consistent. And it's one of those things where meet people where they're at. I've done this long enough where, if I meet somebody who don't have the background and never have worked out, my whole approach for as conversation, for as greeting, for as the workout routine, for as their whole regimen for them is totally different than someone who is a intermediate or someone who's advanced. So it's really just owning what you're called to do and really embrace the capacity that you've been blessed with to really identify different capacity of other people.
So in essence, don't compare yourself to anyone else and where they are on their fitness journey. Focus on yourself and where you are and where you're trying to go.
Absolutely.
And it's something you and I were kind of talking earlier, and you were saying the difference between your 21-year-old body and your body, your age now. So let's talk about that because you did highlight, because it's not just exercise alone; it is also eating habits, right? So
Absolutely.
let's talk about that a little bit.
We weren't supposed to talk about that on record, Nilo.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, man, 18 years old Pat Shed, versus 34-year-old Pat Shed, it's totally different. Back then, man, my metabolism, I could eat Debbie cakes, I could eat chips, I could eat fried chicken, cabbage, greens, pinto beans, the whole Southern course. Because my metabolism was way different, and also my workout was way different, and I was way active.
Mhm.
I didn't have
Mhm.
responsibilities. It was football, school, recreational, basketball, hanging out. So it was all that good environment, right? Then it's totally different from the reality of life.
Right, life.
Look, again, I love it that when life happens, right? Um, so fast forward now, my metabolism has slowed down a lot. My body development has slowed down a lot. And, I have really strong, or we all have really strong genetics. So my body responds different to certain type of food that I eat. Not saying that I'm on a diet, not saying that I'm totally healthy far as eating habits. No, it's just really understanding how your body responds to the food and the liquids that you're putting in. So now it's more of just being conscientious of what I'm eating, the portions that I'm eating, what time that I'm eating. Because again, if I'm not as active as I once were, then I really have to be cautious of what I'm putting in my body. Again, it goes back to being intentional and having those expectations that you have for yourself. So now my body um, has slowed down a lot. I could gain weight, or if I go out working out and I lift heavier, my muscle mass could expand. But right now, I just like to focus more on staying toned, having the energy to exercise, and also the mental aspect of to show up every day and never lose the motivation within.
I love that. Never lose that motivation within, because it does take motivation. You have to be motivated for yourself. You have to be willing to commit, right? Because that's the key. You have to commit to whatever it is that you're doing. You have to commit. Um, and a lot of times, some of us, we make all kind of excuses as to
Mm-hmm.
why we can't commit to improve our health. We make excuses as to why, you know what I'm saying? It's not beneficial for me to not eat Debbie cakes anymore, or why I need to minimize my intake of sugar, or you know what I'm saying, why I need to stop doing X, Y, and Z, because it's all about improving health, maintaining health,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the way to do that is to exercise. One thing that I like to highlight is if you don't have a gym membership, there are things that you can do at home, right? If
Mm-hmm.
you could walk around your neighborhood, right? You could ride a bike. I did bring a couple items, Pat, because I do want you to kind of demonstrate some basic exercises. And the majority of the people may already know these basic exercises. Just a proper way to do a squat. If you would demonstrate that for us, a proper way to do a lunge, and I did bring some weights, y'all, because, I like to work out. So I do have me some dumbbells and all kind of things, because, I could just be doing like this and thinking I'm working something, but form is everything, especially when it comes to strength training. Form is very important. So if you would demonstrate, Pat, and after the demonstrations, I'll take a couple audience questions, but if you would demonstrate the proper way to do or explain the proper way to do a squat or show us lunges, and if you can highlight if I'm doing this correctly.
Okay. Okay. Squatting. I'll just try to elaborate on proper form techniques and squatting. I like how you emphasized on form is everything. You have to have a strong foundation to build. One analogy I like to use before I demonstrate is it's like a house, right? Multiple houses. This is what I like to demonstrate with every athlete that I work with. When you talk about building a foundation, there's, the foundation is the foundation. Whether you have a $30,000 house, a $500,000 house, a $50 million house, the foundation is the foundation. What's the foundation? It's that concrete base. So once you build that foundation, then you can build from there. So that's why form and technique is really important during those early stages of exercising. But when we talk about squatting, it's more like, what do you want to gain from squatting? Some people like to work on their glutes. Some people like to work on, their butt. But the proper form would be, you get it's kind of like you sitting down in a chair, right? It's you sitting down in the chair, your chest is up, and then you have the weight here. So if you really want to be intentional, when you're squatting is to have your chest up, have your butt down, and as I go down slow, my head comes up so that way I don't lose the alignment, because we all have seen where people starts to squat and the weight is too heavy, or they have poor form and they lean it like this. Well, that's the improper way, because it puts so much strain on your back. And the whole point is you want to activate those glutes, you want to activate those quads, you want to activate those hamstrings. So your chest is up, and start off slow. Come straight down, go back up. My head is up so I don't lose my alignment. My chest is up so I don't put the pressure on my back. And then it's just really being intentional, slow and steady. And then as you build and you master your form and technique, then you can up the intensity. Right now, I have to master form because I can't go as heavy with weights. So right now, I throw on lightweight and I'm slow and steady. I got to retrain myself to how to do it the correct way without re-injuring, or if I've never been injured, without getting injured when I'm squatting.
Okay. I love it. I love it. How about lunges?
Lunges is another one where, I incorporate that with exercises as a form of warming up my athletes. Lunges is good. You step out there. It's too where some people don't like to have the knee go over the ankle when they go into a proper lunge. And some people like to never have the knee go over the ankle. Both ways aren't wrong. It's just, if you have stiff ankles, then maybe you want your knee to go over your ankle so that way you can start to loosen up your ankle. But if you have really flexible ankles and you strictly want to focus on your hamstrings, then some people don't like for their knee to go over their ankle. Either way is not incorrect. It's just what are you wanting to gain from it. Same technique. I like to tell kids have they chest up, and then it's more as you go down, keep that chest up. Why? Because doing any exercise, you go ahead.
Okay, you stalled just a second doing any exercise.
Okay.
Could you repeat that? You stalled for a second.
So it's kind of like with exercise with the lunges, right? You step out in your lunge, you keep your chest up, and you come straight down. Again, if you feel any pressure or anything that's going on in your lower back, you need to recorrect your form. But it's the same thing with the lunge. Be more intentional. Keep your chest up so that way you're not putting pressure on your back. Slow and steady. So that way you can really activate the muscles you're wanting to activate.
Okay. All right. Right now, Pat, I will take and Patrick, thank you so much. You're providing a lot of information. We've highlighted various types of exercise, the importance of being intentional, exercise after injury, whether you've been an athlete or not. You've highlighted those things. And then also just the main thing, that mental muscle, the mental capacity, having that motivation to do it, even when your body and your mind is telling you not to do it. Pat, I'm going to take a couple questions. If there are any questions from the viewers, if you have a question, please go ahead and type it. Oh, okay. I see one at the very top. It says, how has, when life happened to you, having multiple injuries, prepared you for what you are doing right now? All right. That's a question, Pat. I just happened to notice it at the top.
That's a really good question. I think it's when life happens, I like to look at adversity. You either run from it or you grow through it. So I know that was my balance. I struggled a lot, many years figuring out which direction I wanted to go that would be fulfilling. And of course, I was hard-headed. I tried to go my own direction until really I started to be more focused and be more intentional with my time. So working with athletes or just working with people in general has definitely created a platform that I'm very passionate about, that comes natural to give back to others in the community. So I take my lived experience, good, bad, and difference, and I mold it into inspiration and motivation of being able to work with other people um, in different capacities. So I would say, how does that correlate? Is I have now created a platform to be able to work with people on different levels, and being able to provide knowledge, but also being able to provide skills to work with them as well to help them achieve their goals and their aspirations.
I love that. I really love that. And I see someone here, they said they love that you either run from it or you grow through it. And I
Mm.
have another question here. A young lady says, so life happened and I'm a disabled vet. What would be your guidance for getting back into running or sprinting if that's her desire? She says she already walks around her neighborhood. So what would you suggest?
Mm. You know, I think forming relationships are very important. Um, and what I mean about healthy relationships, people who have similar lived experience, or people who don't have, who never experienced the trial and tribulation that one face. I think it's set a goal. You know, setting a goal sometimes scares a lot of people. And you know, if your goal is to run one day, every single day, do something a little different that challenges you to get out of your comfort zone. We're
Mm-hmm.
human, we're creatures of habit, so it's so easy to go back to what we know and
Mm-hmm.
what our body has been conditioned to keep us safe in so many years. So the advice I would give to you is try speed walking. You know, if the goal is to run
Okay.
one day, try speed walking.
Mm-hmm.
And then try a treadmill where you go your incline. Again, those small progress steps is what helps you get to the ultimate goal. And then one day, naturally, you'll just start running because you're training your body to
Mm-hmm.
respond out of your comfort zone. And then before you know it, you'll look back and be like, man, I never thought I could run, or I never thought I could jog. But it's all because you kept challenging yourself. And don't focus on just, I want to run right away. You start to see, man, slow walk, fast pace, light jog. Now I'm back running. And then before you know it, you have trained your body to perform naturally, to get the outcomes that you want.
Amen. I like that because look, in my mind, I'm a runner, but baby, when I get out there, it's not quite that. But I love like you. I love what you just said. How and when you talk about building relationships, you're basically just talking about getting out, talking to different people to find out what they're doing,
Mm-hmm.
and then just find out about their experiences as well. But I love that what you said. If you're walking, then do a speed walk, then do a light jog, get on the treadmill, just different things like that. So I really, really think that was a great response. Um, Oh, someone else was just highlighting the fact that you pointed out. Sometimes we jump out there instead of starting small and end up hurting ourselves more. And so we have to just be very mindful of making those small steps. And I know for me, I like to, because in my mind, I'm a runner, right? I desire to run. And so I've been just trying to incorporate those small, because I love the speed walk, but just kind of started incorporating the 30-second, jog and then the minute jog, you know what I'm saying? So to build up to it. So eventually I will get to running that mile. But right now I'm just gonna do those little little bit of those little intervals of running or jogging until I can get to my destination. Great question, great comment. And I was actually just gonna highlight a lot of different ways, but Pat, it has been an absolute Patrick, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you on here to highlight different exercises, the importance of exercise after injury, and how your entire life experience has shaped you and put you in a position to inspire and motivate young, youth, athletic youth and training and things of that nature. So obviously I pray much success over you, but I am going to highlight this because our body is a temple. It houses the Holy Spirit, because I don't want to be remiss and not highlight the importance of exercise. Like, why are we even talking about exercise? I just have to point this out, and then we're going to go because we have exceeded our time. You know, everybody who knows me, who have been following me, know it's 15 to 30 minutes.
I
But
know.
anyway, I do want to say this. It talks about how we honor God with our bodies by taking care of them, right? Because God wants us to take care of our bodies. Physical training is good. Now, when you look at 1 Timothy 4:8 and looking at different translation, it says physical training is good. It's not the overall thing, because it's more about your spiritual training, your spiritual growth, your spiritual fitness. But at the same time, physically fit in the natural will help you to achieve all that God wants you to do for him, for his kingdom, and to fulfill your purpose in life. So being physically healthy is a benefit, right? You can do more, for God. You can just do more for building the kingdom of God. So that's the purpose of wanting, highlighting the importance of exercise. A lot of people fear it, but at the same time, if you look at the compound effect, if you do a little bit continuously, Patrick, which you've highlighted as well, if you can do a little continuously, right, you'll have that motivation, you will build it. And we didn't even highlight, but let me highlight really quickly before we end the benefits of exercises. And we've been saying it all the time, but it's going to improve your mood. It'll distract you from negative thought patterns. You improve your sleep. It relieves stress, and it increases in energy and stamina. So there are benefits to exercise. So if you've been thinking about contemplating whether or not you should get started, let me help you. Get started, right? Go ahead and get started. Stop making excuses as to why you can't do. You've already heard Mr. Shed say, start small, right? If you don't have a gym membership, walk around in your house, walk around in your neighborhood. If you don't feel safe in your neighborhood, stay in your house, right? Or wherever you dwell. Work if you go to work. If you have opportunity to take a break, use your 15-minute break to walk around the parking lot. There are things that you can do sitting, right? Pat, I brought my weights and stuff, and I know we're over the time, but look, let's just look here. If you don't have weights, use some canned goods. You understand what I'm saying? And just again, it is proper form. You can watch videos to get proper form. You know what I'm saying? Just use it. Hey, use those. And I obviously have different types of weights, kettlebells, things of that nature, weighted vests. Put this around your arm weights, or you can put around ankle weights, whichever one. And then this is a 2-pound weight right here, right? And mix it up. You can mix up your routines. It doesn't have to be the same thing all the time. One of my cousins calls it funner size. She doesn't even call it exercise. She calls it funner size. And when I first saw it, she posted, I was like, Tyra, it's fun. But anyway, it's funner size. And you have to look at exercise as something that you get to do, right? Yeah. It's something that you get to do. It's like a contribution back to your body. It's the gift to you, right? And I know it helps with exercise. So in closing, Patrick, what would you like to say to the viewers as it relates to exercise? What would you like to say? Because this is the end, and I just want you to kind of give us just help us out. Help us out. That's it.
The thing that comes to mind is kill the ego. Killing the ego is the person you once was. Kill the ego, right? The ego is saying, for me, example, I'm an explosive type guy. I had to be humble on so many levels.
But God will humble you.
Look, in a lot of ways. But killing the ego is saying, I now want sustainability and longevity, right? Sustainability and longevity. Having an ego is saying, I'm going to do this at a high capacity, but I'm only going to do it once or twice for a short period of time. So killing the ego is really saying, I have to really be committed, be intentional, but I have to really care enough to understand and really own that I have to do something different to get the outcomes that I want, So I would say kill the ego so you can get started. Once you get started, be committed. Once you're committed, be intentional. Once you're intentional, be consistent. Once you be consistent, embrace the small wins.
I love it.
Embrace those. Listen, embrace those small wins. If Saturday is the first day I get up and I go do something different, that's a win. Even if I go out and I check the mailbox on a
You
Saturday.
stop. Wait. You stalled just a little bit. If Saturday you get up and go do something, say that again.
If Saturday, if today out of 34 years, I get up and I go check the mailbox at 5 o'clock in the morning, I have done something different. That's a small win. But the whole goal is, if I can inspire anyone, is to, if you're able to do it, go and do it. Who knows outcome? Have that motivation where I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna go do it, and I figured out when I meet that. You don't always have to figure everything out. It's just really getting started, you know, and then you figure it out as you go. But just go do it. Kill the ego. Kill that ego so you can get started. And then when you get started, embrace a new beginning. You know.
I love that. I love that, Patrick. Thank you so much. Oh, someone just put for you to type that in the chat what you said when you get started. I may have to go back and type that in after the show. Type in what he said because it was really good. She said you're gonna read that every day, so I may go in and type it in and highlight it. Because it was really, really good. But I love the whole thing, Kill the Ego. Well, I thank you so much for tuning in to the viewers, but more so, thank you so much, Patrick. I totally enjoyed this conversation. I really, really appreciate you. And again, much success. I love you. And just know, hey, keep doing great things. Keep inspiring and motivating the youth. And trust me, other people are watching. So you're motivating more than the ones that you have the actual interaction with, right? So just know that you're doing a lot more than you may give yourself credit for, but stay humble because we already know God has a way of humbling you.
That's true. And I like to say thank you, you know, Neloise, for letting me be a guest on your show. You know, I'm inspired. You know, it's those small wins. Now I'm inspired to really challenge myself to get out of my comfort zone and go and reach my full potential. Sometimes we need to take our own advice. So thank you. So thank you for allowing this space and allow me to have space to be on when life happens. I'm very thankful, and I can't wait to go back and watch the videos, and also thank you for being the inspiration you are on your platform. Thank you so much. I really. All
right, thank you. Well, that's it, everyone. Thank you for tuning in with When Life Happens with Neloise Denise and my special guest, Mr. Patrick Shedd. With all that being said, do go about, enjoy the rest of your day. Have an amazing day.
All righty. Thank you, sis.
All right. Love you. Bye-bye.
Love you too.